Hello, my name is Kevin Dufresne. Welcome to I Don't Know. We can talk about it, where we discuss a variety of topics. And that's just because we're humans and we can have opinions. So we'll do so mindfully here. The first couple of topics I want to talk about concern, no surprise, education. But one of my favorite topics, reading. Reading comprehension in schools. Will AI assist with determining reading comprehension levels more so than a human might? What I like about the article, what I think is very important to acknowledge, is with AI technology able to progress while changes are happening more actively than a human might be able to, depending though on the methods and measures of assessing reading comprehension levels, makes AI stand out as an easier asset for students, for use in academia, to assess on an ongoing transitioning level in a way that might be at least different with a human. The pacing might vary per human. So when we have, for example, humans actively monitoring a student, this can be very much as good, though varying more than AI, especially with that human connection, which is very, very important to basically have the student's connection with the human be more humane, if you will, less robotic. Because an individual will respond differently in different response settings. So I think AI in a classroom can be supportive depending on what type of school the AI is in use for. Population does matter. How many teachers, assistants are available for a student? Really important is in a school that has a lot of resources to cater to a particular student. Of course, on a level of how many can help one, then I think those resources need to be as human as possible. Because in the end, results, though, in life, a human has to be able to communicate with a human. So an operating system versus a human, even if the operating system is pulling away from human intelligence, because that's where it comes from, the balance is important for a learner, for a person, catering to the whole person. Okay, so with that, what do you think is optimal and what kind of settings? AI support or transitional teacher support? The next topic, of course, works right in with more reading. The digital versus the physical. I'm a huge fan of the physical aspect of reading. Reading physical text, paper, books, versus using a medium that has a lot more than just what one is working with. Even if a device is set up just to have one book on it, that can be more beneficial than a device that has a lot more features available. And this is what the article touches on. Reading on a digital device, an electronic digital device, can be very distracting for an individual because of what's already available on the device, like the internet, games. Now, reading a physical text allows one to be in focus with that one text. That is all a person has to focus on. With that understanding, the survey in the article does show working with physical text is a lot better than working with digital text. So the balance, I think, comes in when we're discussing certain individuals that might have a need for electronic devices to assist with reading, because the form of reading that can happen through electronic devices can be very engaging. So having a read aloud with the device for individuals that need assistance with reading or with listening, having different color backgrounds can be of assistance for individuals as well. There are a lot of different ways to read that a physical text and a digital text can cater to only so much. Though I do respect the variance of electronic reading devices, I understand by research that reading a physical book is beneficial down the line for individuals. So health and research does rest on the side in good ways for physical text. For electronic digital text, the research shows it can be useful, and I'm sharing that it can be useful in a lot more instances, though of course one has to respect each situation for what each situation is. All right, with that, you know that I don't know, we can talk about it, works in tandem with the form of Pieters. So I'm gonna show you how you can get there during this break. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It's intermission point for www.pieters.com. Welcome to Pieters, where expression, the choice to express in the public sphere, is to bear in the wild your choice responsibilities, where beyond anyone and anywhere else you will encounter yourself. Aside from Pieters, music, books I've read, publications, merchandise, and of course the About page, the form of Pieters works in tandem with I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It. So I encourage you to stay up to date via the YouTube channel, the podcast, or use the forums to be an active participant in future discussions or other discussions. I hope we can continue to grow together. Onward and Upward, Kevin Dufresne. Okay, welcome back to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It. My name is Kevin Dufresne. What we have here is origami paper. Now, we're gonna make an origami that I really like. This design is like a wolf fox puppet. It's a fox puppet. So the whole idea is, of course, we have to fold it first we fold it in half, okay? And I'm using a square paper, so ideally you want to make a square paper. Okay, now going to next fold in. So this is actually a way to get to the origami house. Okay, so we have it here, and then we're just gonna fold in. All right, now after we fold in, come in here, we're going to open up the center. The reason why this is important is because this is gonna make our fox ears, okay? So we have it here, okay. Now, see how I'm opening it? I'm just opening it up, literally opening it up. I set a finger in here, and boom. Bless me. So, next, I'm gonna open it right here, and here it is. See? So again, opening it. And one way to ensure that it doesn't go like flat in the middle is to make sure the line, if you fold it twice, like I like to, edge to edge, the line will be available for you to align with a back line. So you'll have a line to work with. This will help make it have more even fold here when it comes to this part. So you're aligning the lines, right? Here, boom. So that's exactly what happens. We have the square fold in half, fold it again, then we're gonna fold it back. And as you can see, it leads us here. When we fold it inward, and we have the opportunity to put a finger in and flatten it here. So I want to reiterate, please, folding it backwards or inwards as the second fold is okay, because you're all gonna flatten it anyway, and that's gonna be your side. And you're gonna now come, when you have this front side, then you literally have this as your front side, and fold it right down the line, all right here, okay? So, like that, and voila. So I take that part and I fold it back. So you can see the split here. There's one that goes back here, and then there's another one that goes right there, all right? And now we're just gonna take this, and I'm gonna fold it here. Okay, so now I fold it in, and now you can see what we have. They're like equal folds, equal flaps, right? So like splitting it down here. In case you end up folding it differently, you can see that it's just an equal flap. Okay, so we fold there. Next, we're gonna have to fold in. So this part is where it gets really tricky, but this is the important fold. We're gonna fold from one edge. We're gonna make the ear. The ear is gonna be sharp. So with that, the fold happens like this. First, you make one single fold, right? One single fold, like one square panel goes to the edge. Okay. So it comes up here, just so you can see. So now look, see that? So I have it here, one single fold from the edge. Okay, one corner. Then you're gonna do the same on the opposite side. One single fold comes onto the edge. Now we have our initial fold for our ears. So we're gonna take our ears, it's gonna be that same fold, but it's gonna be the entire piece here. So when you come up here, you just fold it in, take that whole edge up, and wham, right on. You really wanna get it here so you get the point, but I would say bring it edge to edge. Okay, and then again, just bring it edge to edge. Okay, and now that you're edge to edge, well, of course, you have to take this part and you just kind of split it. Okay, so you're gonna just take the I'm going to take the mouth here, okay? And there you have it. There you have it. You have this nice, cool fox. This nice, cool fox thing. And so if it feels loose, like mine right here, actually, it kind of feels like a comfortable loose, which is good. And you can say, I feel, I feel comfortable loose. What do you think? I'm so comfortable loose. I'm so loose. I think it's cool this way because then you can avoid having a rip on the lip. If you do want to add that extra fold, make the fold tighter, you can. And that means bringing it all the way to the opposite edge and then pulling it back in. That might cause you to rip the origami fox puppet. So don't rip me. Don't rip me at all. Please don't rip me. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is one of the fun ones I really like to play with. Okay, so that's the origami fox puppet. Next, I don't go to the theaters this past week, so I end up watching a film on Hulu. Just one film at that, and it's The Triangle of Sadness, which is a very, very interesting spin on class and wealth, money. As a line indicates through an individual in the film, being in a particular place at a particular time, and what one does in that particular place at a particular time is very present in the film as a theme. The film is actually really good. The film requires a lot of attention to detail because of how poetic the film actually is, from the dialogue, connecting with every single scene. I mean, from beginning to end. This is what some might consider an art house type film. It's definitely a dramedy. A lot to think about. And I feel as though a film of this sort carries so much for one to acknowledge, though at the same time leaves one to consider, well, what is one doing with one's money? Because we go from this modern stance to a cavemanish stance, if you will. Then we have this reverse where we have to acknowledge the economic situations of social relations in different types of settings. So we're considering the resources. Do I think the film is worth watching? Yes, I do think the film is worth watching. I remember seeing previews of the film in theaters thinking, I want to watch the film, though after watching it, I feel as though this is not just about wealth, though about how one uses one's resources in a community at large. So of course, we're looking at a very interesting history without the history, go figure. Also, like I say, eco-social relations, from kind of like being hunter-gatherers to being individuals that can pay other people for services. I laugh at the film because of the positing of certain situations and ideologies. The film is very, very deep. The situations are not really for one to laugh about in this sense outside of the film. As an individual in the real world, as an audience member observing this creativity, I have to acknowledge there are very, very comical aspects to the film. Though at the end of the film, I remember thinking to myself, like, because it hits very different in the last scenes of the film, where the film comes together very, very well. So I think The Triangle of Sadness is a really good film. Of course, the film does touch on other areas that, very intricate. I mean, the detail connecting to the themes is just wonderfully set. And we're looking at a world of individuals that really find unique common grounds. The translations are beautiful. Economically, I know I'm saying this multiple times because the film does a very good job of putting people in these spaces correctly. And the acting partners, well, they look like they're all having a good time. So that's what makes the film also very interesting. I think the beginning of the film does stand out because it starts off on this whole idea of, basically how money affects individuals' perceptions and the reason for certain positions that individuals take. Are these accurate assumptions, I have to say assumptions, by the initial protagonist or any of the protagonists realistically? And they work very well thematically and are very intriguing to think about. I mean, we're looking at way more than just a conversation here about money. I like the film. Very, very well done. So now with that, we're going to be moving on to the next topic, of course, which is a book. The book we're going to be talking about today, well, I'll be right back with you in a bit. Okay, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer is a decent text. I like the text as a text for individuals that are advanced in personal spirituality and being, because of the values the author sets methodically. So what the author offers as methods to protect one's energy, to be in the world, to be in one's life, to move forward in one's life proactively, though in some regards passively, are effective methods. Though I feel as any individual using the methods the author offers must already be through with a lot of self-work, must be willing to learn more of navigating beyond the methods the author offers. If one is purposeful, living well, seeking well, to advance in life personally, I do feel this text can be very valuable because the methods work in an advanced situation, spiritually, emotionally, even physically, considering one's whole being. The text is offering methods for one to be at peace, to be sound with oneself, I advise reading the text with caution if one does not already do the self-work. Though if one has that capacities to use the information well within one's own life, I think the text can be very valuable. I don't advise initially taking the advice without considering how to strategically implement what the author is advising, especially if one does not already have a strategy or processes and motions to deal with one's own life in all the situations that require self-work. Do I recommend the text? As I say, I like the text I read. I like good to amazing context. And when it comes to reading this text, like any self-help type text, I want to say take it with a grain of salt to an open wound. Additionally, I want to make sure you understand, I think this text is for individuals that have already done self-work, have strategies to continue doing self-work, moving forward, are proactive with sound, reasonable methods of growth toward one's goals, because this text, I think, is really for an individual that is at that point, or dealing with those types of situations forward in the best ways in life personally. Well now, thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for watching. I don't know, we can talk about it. I'm glad about putting this episode together, and I'm looking forward to having more discussions, engaging in more topics. Of course, I'm doing a lot of writing on my end, so I do want to ensure that I am creating in all the necessary ways. I'm looking forward to having more information that can be enjoyable and beneficial. The bookmark raffles are coming. Don't forget about the bookmark raffle. And we'll be having a bookmark raffle monthly. And of course, I'm looking for some quarterly, annually, semi-annual bookmark raffle dates. So please continue showing up. I hope you have a wonderful time wherever you are, doing whatever you're doing, so long as it's good. Onward and Upward, Dufresne.